Charlie Woods wasn't walking alone. That a massive gallery followed his every step. Reporters lined the ropes, cameras clicking in rhythm with his stride. And just inside the fairway, hat pulled low, arms crossed, eyes steady, stood Tiger Woods. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. Everyone there knew what this moment meant. This wasn't just another promising junior golfer. This was his son. Charlie had earned his way here the hard way. Just weeks earlier, he'd clawed through a gritty AGA victory that forced the junior golf world to take notice. Then came Coral Springs, a ruthless 3-for-1 playoff. The pressure was suffocating, but Charlie thrived in it, draining a clutch birdie to seize the final U.S. junior qualifying spot. It wasn't handed to him. He took it, with nerves of steel and the kind of poise that can't be taught. That'd be why the time he teed it up in Dallas, the buzz was deafening. Golf Monthly called him a dangerous wild card. NBC analysts dissected every move, noting how his swing had sharpened, how his composure had matured. Every lens was locked on him. Every swing carried the weight of a legacy, and the world was watching to see if Charlie Woods would rise, not just as Tiger's son, but as his own name in golf's next chapter. For Charlie Woods, this was more than a tournament. It was a dream and a test rolled into one. As he stepped onto the first tee, eyes locked straight ahead. Tiger followed just a few paces behind. The message was unmistakable. Charlie wasn't here to be watched. He was here to compete. The walk, the posture, the calm confidence, it all looked right. Every sign pointed toward something special. But no one, not even Tiger, could have predicted what came next. By mid-morning on July 21st, the buzz had shifted from excitement to disbelief. After months of steady progress and growing hype, Charlie Woods opened his U.S. Junior Amateur campaign with the stunning 81, 11 over par, landing him tied for 242nd out of 264 players. In the span of just 18 holes, the narrative flipped from rising contender to unexpected long shot. That it didn't take long for the struggles to show. On the front nine, Charlie battled the one thing no golfer can afford: inconsistency off the tee. Drives leaked left, pushed right, or found the thick rough short of the fairway. His tempo, usually smooth and composed, seemed a fraction off. The frustration was visible, but the fight wasn't gone. The result: 2 double bogeys and a string of misses that ballooned his score early. What began as a nervous stumble quickly became a full-blown slide. Golf Monthly didn't sugarcoat it. An uphill task before day 2 even began. By the 5th hole, the gallery's energy had shifted. The cheers turned to hushed murmurs. Phones came down. Cameras clicked less often. Everyone was still watching, but now with concern, not curiosity. On the back nine, there was a flicker of fight. Charlie dropped 2 birdies, including a smooth 12-foot putt on the par 3/13. But by then, the damage was done. The rhythm never returned. The confidence never resurfaced. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. What made it harder to ignore wasn't just the scorecard. It was the body language. Not just Charlie's, but Tiger's. As Yahoo Sports captured, the defining image of the day came late. Charlie glancing up at his father, then down again. No words. Just a quiet, heavy moment, both realizing things were slipping away. When it was over, Charlie walked off the 18th green without a smile, without acknowledgement, just a slow, silent walk back to the clubhouse, cap pulled low. A round that began with fireworks ended in near silence. This wasn't just a bad day. It was an unraveling, and when the numbers were broken down, the verdict was harsh. NBC Sports called it a humbling day in Dallas. WFAA summed it up best: a painful reminder that promise doesn't always protect against pressure. Charlie Woods had one of the toughest statistical days at Trinity Forest. Start with the driver. Just 3 of 14 fairways hit, among the lowest in the entire field. And when you're playing a championship setup, starting every hole from the rough, or worse, you're already in survival mode. The fairway stats alone told the story of a round that never got off the ground. Around the greens, things didn't improve. Scrambling, the art of saving par after missing a green, was almost non-existent. Missed targets turned into missed chances. Short chips ran long. Short putts lipped out. His scrambling percentage hovered in the danger zone, and bogeys piled up fast. Then came the flat stick. 35 putts. A full stroke above the field average. On greens this slick, that number isn't just a stat, it's a verdict. NBC noted that players near the cut line averaged 28 putts or fewer. That 7-stroke gap, the difference between making history and heading home early, momentum never came. 4 double bogeys don't just hurt your scorecard, they crush rhythm. Each time it looked like Charlie might stabilize, another big number dragged him deeper down the leaderboard. When the round ended, he sat 12 shots behind the projected +2 cut line for match play. 12. That's not a stumble, that's a collapse. By the numbers, he didn't just struggle, he was outclassed. And then came the image no one could forget. Charlie walking off the 18th green, shoulders low, cap pulled tight. But the cameras didn't stay on him. They drifted behind to Tiger, hat low, arms crossed, eyes locked straight ahead. No words, no reaction. Throughout the round, Tiger had walked every step inside the ropes. But what stood out wasn't his presence, it was his silence. In past events, he'd crouch beside Charlie, whisper advice, flash a grin, a fist bump. But not this time. Just quiet footsteps and the sound of cleats on Bermuda grass, reporters noticed. Yahoo Sports described Tiger as visibly tense but composed. Golf Monthly wrote that his expression never changed, even after the 4th double bogey. That stillness, that unreadable calm, said more than any coaching tip ever could, because this wasn't just about a teenager having a bad day. It was about what the moment symbolized, a generational torch flickering in the wind. The greatest golfer alive, watching his son falter under the weight of a legacy only a Woods could carry. Charlie looked back at Tiger after more than one bogey, not in panic, but in uncertainty, as if asking silently, "What now?" Sometimes silence says more than any outburst ever could. Charlie Woods missed a match play cut by a staggering 12 shots. The line stood at +2, and his name wasn't even close. NBC Sports called it one of the most high-profile exits of the week. Not just because of his last name, but because so many believed his game was finally ready to speak for itself. That belief didn't come from hype. It came from what he'd already done. Just weeks earlier at Coral Springs, he'd stared down 2 opponents in a brutal 3-for-1 playoff and buried a birdie putt to claim the final U.S. Junior qualifying spot. Under scorching heat, with everything on the line, he didn't blink. That was the version of Charlie Woods the golf world expected to see in Dallas. Focused, fearless, free. Instead, they saw something else. A young player still figuring it all out under the harshest spotlight imaginable. But to understand how much this week meant, you have to go back to where it all began, when the first tee shot was struck at Eagle Trace during that Coral Springs qualifier. Nobody imagined it would come down to 3 names, 1 number, and 1 nerve-shredding playoff. Yet by day's end, the scores told the story. Charlie Woods, Matthew Marigliano, and Oscar Crowe, all tied at 71. That's not just respectable. That's survival mode. Eagle Trace wasn't kind that day. The Florida heat was punishing. The greens were lightning fast, unpredictable. Every swing mattered. This wasn't just another junior round. It was a career checkpoint that Charlie's front 9 was quiet, solid, unspectacular. But on the back 9, the switch flipped. Steady pars, a laser approach on 15, and then a cold-blooded birdie on 17 that yanked him right back into the fight. It wasn't flashy. It was surgical. Marigliano, calm and consistent, matched him stroke for stroke. No mistakes, no nerves. Meanwhile, Oscar Crowe hung tough, his tempo steady, his eyes locked in. When they walked off 18, it was dead even. That meant only one thing: a sudden death playoff. 3 players. 1 golden ticket to the U.S. Junior Amateur. And standing there, surrounded by silence and heat, Charlie Woods found himself right where he's always been, on the edge of expectation.